Hey everybody, Rod Fitzwell here, and I am very happy to introduce a good friend of the program, Dennis Bickmeier. Runs the Richmond International Raceway, baby. Dennis, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you getting excited? We've got a big weekend coming up, September 6th and 7th.
Yeah, it's hard to believe the summer has flown by, which means it's time to go back NASCAR racing at Richmond International Raceway.
And it's always a great race up there, always a good time. Before we get to the race, though, I got to ask you, what in the world is happening in the FM99 Fantasy Racing Challenge? I mean, you're in the know, and the last time I checked, you're behind me, you're behind Rumble, you're behind Tim Parker, and the Rock Girl's almost beating you. What is going on?
Shot to the heart right there, man. I tell you, I've fallen off a cliff the last month. I don't know. I had too much summertime fun. I was on vacation. I don't know. I can make up 1,000 excuses, but I just have just not done well.
Yeah, and I've got to tell you, I've looked at the points and I've looked at what races are left, and I don't think you're going to catch anybody.
You might
be able to catch
not.
Rick, but
Probably not. Yeah, and I understand he's like strategizing behind my back.
He is.
He just wants to stay ahead of me.
That's right. He called me last week from vacation. He was actually away for the weekend, and he said, I just got to stay in front of Bickmeier. Who am I putting in here? And I told him, and it obviously worked out well enough because you had a bad week again.
Well, it's on. He and I, it's
yes.
on now.
All right, now big news this week. Kurt Busch is now headed over to Stewart Haas. Stewart Haas, Tony Stewart's racing team, along with Gene Haas. They're bringing in. It'll be the fourth car, so you will have Kevin Harvick, who's replacing Ryan Newman, and then you will also, of course, have Tony Stewart next season when he comes back from the broken leg, and you've got Danica Patrick. So you've got Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch, Tony Stewart, Danica Patrick, 3 men and a little lady. Copyright that. I think it's already been copyrighted.
I see all the merchandising right now.
But my question is, you look at the points and you look at what's going to happen at Richmond that weekend with the Federated Auto Parts 400 on that Saturday night. It's the last race before the chase, and you've got Kurt Busch, who's on the out. He's not necessarily on the outside. He's right there in 12th in points. He wants to make sure he makes the chase. Does Kevin Harvick, even though he's racing for a different team right now, but knowing he's going to be Kurt Busch's teammate, does he cut him a break that night? Does Danica cut him a break if he needs a break? Do they let him go by so he can get into the race for the chase?
I think they race for the here and now. I don't think that factors into their mindset. I think they try to win races. They try to get the best finish they can get. I don't think any of that other stuff plays into any of that. Especially, right, they're not teammates right now.
No.
And as you said, that sets up all in the future. They got to take care of their own business. For their own employer right now.
I get that. And of course, Kurt Busch right now is pretty much his own employer.
Yeah,
but at least you would have to think that, or maybe it might not cut him a break, but might not deliberately spin him out.
Well, I don't know about that either. I mean, I think you got to go for what you can get, and don't forget there's points and there's money on the line too. So you never know.
Absolutely. All right, so let's fast forward now. It's coming up September 6th, that Friday night. You've got the nationwide race, which is the Virginia 529 College Savings Race. Why do I want to go to that race?
Well, typically we get a lot of the Sprint Cup Series drivers who will also compete on Friday night in the Nationwide Series race. The other thing is we got a Virginian, Elliott Sadler, who's in the thick of the points race
of
the Nationwide Series, pulling for Elliott. He's never won at Richmond. I know he would love to get a win there. But I think that really sets the stage for Saturday as well. I mean, I think we see some great racing on Friday. It's under the lights just like we have on Saturday. But it's a nice mix of some Sprint Cup Series drivers, some young up-and-coming drivers as well.
That's awesome. Now, Saturday night, the Federated Auto Parts 400, we have those final spots for the chase available. I think there's only like 3 or 4 guys locked in right now. Give me the wild card. Who do you think is going to make it that perhaps is on the outside looking in? I think this week is Atlanta and then off to Richmond. So what do you got?
Well, I mean, I think you got to look at Jeff Gordon, who was in this position a year ago. Doesn't have a win, has to race his way in. He did it last year at Richmond. Came from the back twice to get in. He nosed out Kyle Busch. Kurt Busch is on the bubble. We talked about that. Ryan Newman. Odd man
and
out.
That's the guy we haven't talked about.
That's
now,
right.
If there's ever a guy that's got a chip on his shoulder, is Ryan Newman, because he was told last month that you're out of a job next year with Stewart Haas because Kevin Harvick's taking your ride, and we're only a 3-car operation. And then this week we find out, guess what? We're adding a 4th car, and Ryan Newman. It's still not you. It's Kurt Busch. So there's a guy that's got to be a little chippy.
I would think so. I think he's Ryan's a great guy. He's a great competitor. But you really want to show something. I mean, get into the chase and then go for it. And so I think you got to look at Ryan Newman. It's very interesting from about 7th on back. The other guy you got to look at too is Dale Jr. has been sliding the wrong way.
Oh, he has been going backwards, and that is amazing. But boy, it would be great if Junior did get in. I know a lot of fans love him. He's a very popular driver. Real quick, tickets. Are there still tickets available? I know there are for the nationwide race. What about the Sprint Cup race?
Definitely for Saturday night, the Federated Auto Parts 400 as well. Go to RIR.com or 866-455-RACE. But yeah, I mean, I think we'll be selling tickets right up through race day. But just love to really try to pack the place, get a great crowd out there for this very special race on the NASCAR schedule.
Fantastic. All right, Dennis Bickmeier, thanks, man.
All right, man.
Appreciate it.
Great to see you. Thanks.
Go Richmond.